You know this is Elman. You're listening to It Came From the Radio. We're here with writer, editor, publisher, Mark Mazz. Now, I walked past the booth and I was like, okay, this is scary. And it caught my eye because this is kind of how I felt since June. I felt really kind of nuts, like I'm going crazy.
Like it's committed.
And well, anyway, hi, welcome to the show. And before I ask you crazy questions about this book specifically, who are you? Like, who are we with right now? Who are
I'm
we
Mark
listening
Mazz.
to?
I'm a writer. I'm also an artist, but I'm the editor on a lot of titles now, and a publisher.
Okay.
And what I've been doing is I've worked for all the major publishers. I work for the two largest publishers in the world.
Who's that?
Marvel Comics and
Marvel?
DC Comics.
You work for both of them.
Both of them.
How was
an
it?
Art director.
How was that? You miss it?
Marvel was very competitive.
Okay.
DC was more of a family kind of thing, more of a community thing, I thought. And I finally wanted to do my own thing. I wanted to not work for someone else, work for myself, and work with people that I thought were really cool.
Like me.
Yeah. And what I wanted to do is join people with a lot of experience, with newcomers who all had the energy, and create some synergy between the two of them so we can create new cool stories.
Very cool. So you're taking what you learn, you're creating your own thing, and here, this is what has my attention. So I saw this. It's pretty scary. You know, most comic books I see, they're kind of fun or fluffy or just superhero. You don't see too much horror, and I'm in a bunch of horror movies. Now, this book, what is this about? This woman looks crazy.
Psychosis Today is it's the story of 21st century fears. It's the story of modern day horror, very similar to what you would read in a Stephen King book. It's themes that are common and horror that we encounter.
Okay.
But it's also interlaced with traditional horror elements. So what it does is, because it's psychological horror, it comes in under the radar. You don't quite expect it, and then I get you at the end. You know.
Now you said off camera that basically one of the themes of this book is that you have that crazy person in the neighborhood, and maybe that crazy person in that neighborhood doesn't know they're crazy.
Let's grab the camera again for a second. This specific story, it's told by Gabriel Topez. Okay. He's actually out in LA. He approached me about the story, and the story is that it's told from the point of view of someone who actually is unhinged. Okay. Someone whose reality has been broken, okay? But they don't know it yet. So you're seeing the world the way they see it, which is really it's an interesting perspective. The moment you told me, I said, wow, we got to do that.
Right.
Okay? We all have neighbors that are just kind of on the edge, and you wonder, what's going on there.
Yeah.
This is that story.
I think, my dad and his girlfriend and all of that, they're on the edge. Then I'm going through the neighborhood right now. The house next door, well, we'll just say we don't have the names listed, but that woman won her house in a lottery. She was living out of a tent. She was homeless.
Cool. I mean,
that's pretty cool, but she's terrorized the neighborhood.
Yes.
Terrorized.
It's very
and she's,
weird.
I think, the crazy one in the neighborhood. So she would probably be this woman. She's sued multiple people. She's accused people of sexual harassment, and nobody wants to harass her. Nobody wants to harass this woman. But you know what?
Tell themselves.
The way I'm telling it, maybe I'm the crazy one in the neighborhood. It's not her. And then we got the person next to me who's an alcoholic, who's fled his house and is not here, and his car has broken tires. Then we have the house across from me, which I heard at one point was infested with rats and snakes. So who's the crazy person in the neighborhood? Do we all think each other are crazy?
I guess it all depends who's reading. Who actually is the audience, because anybody could be just on the edge and you just don't know it.
Now, do you have anyone crazy in your neighborhood that you think of when you think of this?
Well, we did have, I went to school with someone, and her son grew up without his father, which is a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to have an issue.
Right.
But this guy did.
Okay.
And I remember looking out my door one time and seeing this guy. He had two of his buddies holding the arms of this individual down on his knees. I'm like, what the hell is going on
Right.
here? And as I'm walking up to go into my house, they slammed the glass door and slammed the guy's head through the glass door.
Oh my gosh.
So there's crazy stuff out there.
Wow, yes there is.
You know, and all you got to do is be aware, and you'll see it.
And if you're not aware, you could read this book. Now, I want to go into one more book. I know we're at the 5-minute mark, which means the end of the interview, but I don't care because I want to hear a little more from you. Are you down for another minute of speaking with me?
Oh yeah, we could talk about.
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear.
I'd love to talk about The Adversary.
The Adversary. Okay,
The
so he's holding up
Adversary-
a book, and what's this about? Yeah.
The Adversary is the story of a female demon from the horde of hell who
Okay.
decides that she doesn't want to be part of that anymore. It's not who she is.
Is she better than that?
She's better than that. So she leaves the horde. She comes to Earth, and she wants to do better.
How is she
So-
trying to do better? How can
Well,
it?
she's combating these evils because that's not who she is anymore.
Right. Okay.
And it's told from a perspective. It has very high moments of high drama,
Right.
and then the writer-artist interjects moments of humor
Okay.
right at the highest moments of the drama. So you get this like roller coaster effect going through it. It's really a
So,
great read.
For the listeners at home, maybe we can learn from this character. What are 2 ways that someone right now who maybe feels like they're a little bit of a demon, a lot of times the villain knows they're a villain, sometimes the villains don't know they're villains.
Well,
how can we be less demons?
The best part about this is leave hell, number
Okay,
one.
leave hell, number one.
And
All
number
right.
2, move to the only place that'll accept anybody, Brooklyn.
You know what, and I will say on a more philosophical health, I wrote a health guidebook. You know, a lot of times they say, are you depressed? Are you surrounded by, we'll just say the word schmucks? You know, sometimes your depression is because of your environment. So if you're
yeah.
in hell
Yeah.
and you're causing, hurt people. If you're in hell and you're terrorizing
You gotta
other
get
people,
out.
get out of
Gotta get
hell,
out.
and then maybe you'll stop making other people's lives hell, right?
Yep. Oh yeah, I agree
Change
with
your
that.
situation. Yeah. Today I'm in a very good mood because I got here and right away these girls were dancing and I felt like I've been in hell
The whole
since
place
June.
like that.
It's amazing. It's very, very positive vibes. So I got to say, I felt like I was in hell, and then I was transported here, and I feel a little bit less hellish. So thank you for being part of this shift in my life. And now, where can readers and where can listeners of the show find you?
It's really easy. You should go to my website. It's atlasunleashed.com, or you can go to CCN, which is the Comics Creator News website. I interview comics creators all the time. It's all, print interview. There's got to be like 50 interviews up there right now. Have a great time with
And
that.
CCN, not to be confused with CNN, which
Right.
is Chicken Noodle Noodle
Comics-
for news.
Comics Creator News.
Comics Creator News. Thank you so much for 8 minutes of your time. And now back to more. It came from the radio. See you later, Mark.